Here we have an example of a proper fraction. Three tenths is a proper fraction because the value of the numerator is less than the value of the denominator. 3 is less than 10. So this is what we call a proper fraction. But not all fractions are like this. For example, 8/5. Now here, the numerator has greater value than the denominator. So we call this an improper fraction. Some people call it a top-heavy fraction because the numerator is larger in value than the denominator. Some people call it a vulgar fraction, but the most commonly used correct phrase is an improper fraction. Let's take a closer look at what 8/5 means, its value. Here are two pizzas. Remember, mathematicians love pizzas. These two pizzas have been split into 5 equal sectors. It's 5 on this pizza and 5 on this pizza, and both pizzas are the same size. And we're looking at what 8/5 is. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's one whole there. That's 5/5 make the whole. 6, 7, 8. So that's what 8/5 represent. It's one whole and another 3/5. So we've got a proper fraction, an improper fraction. The next thing that we sometimes come across is called a mixed number. A mixed number like 3 and a third has an integer part, in this case the 3, and a fraction part as well, in this case a third, and this is called a mixed number. Here's an example. Write 4 2/3 as an improper fraction. 4 2/3 is a mixed number. We have an integer part, that's 4, and we have the fraction part, that's 2/3. Let's go to a diagram to see this more clearly. Here we have 5 pizzas, each cut into 3 sectors as 3 shapes the same size. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole here, 5 whole pizzas. Well, what does 4 2/3 look like? Let's colour them in and see where we get up to. Here's 1/3, and we need 4 whole and 2/3 of this one. Let's get colouring. There we have 4 2/3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 whole shapes and 2/3 of a shape. So how many thirds is that in total? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 thirds. So we can write that as 14 over 3. We can express 4 2/3 as an improper fraction by first separating the integer and the fraction parts and writing them as an addition. So 4 plus 2/3 is 4 2/3. Then, using our knowledge of equivalent values, we can write 4 in terms of thirds. So how many thirds go into 4? Well, 3/3 make one whole. So 12 thirds make 4. And we can check that here because this also represents a division. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 12 thirds represents 4. And then we're going to add the 2 thirds to that. 12 thirds add 2 thirds. Notice the denominators are the same. So we just find the sum of the numerators. 12 plus 2 is 14. And what are we doing? We got thirds. So it's 14 thirds. And this agrees with the diagram. In this example, we're going to start with an improper fraction, what we've got here, where the numerator is larger than the denominator, and express it as a mixed number. So we're going to divide 31 by 4, and we're interested in the integer part and the remainder. So 31 over 4 as a fraction is equal to 31 divided by 4. So if I work out the integer part, how many 4s go into 31? Well, 4 multiplied by 7 is 28, and 4 multiplied by 8 is 32. So 7 4s go into 31, but there's a remainder of 28, 29, 30, 31. There's a remainder of 3. So I've got the whole number part of the mixed number. Now I need the fraction part. Well, the remainder goes on top of the fraction. This becomes our numerator. And we've already got the denominator. The denominator is 4. So I can say that 31 quarters, or 31 over 4, is equal to 7. And this 3 becomes the numerator of the fraction part. And that, of course, is over 4. So 31 over 4 is an improper fraction, but as a mixed number, its value is 7 3/4.